Fellas, you best stay away from them payment plans. They got payment plans for all kinds of bullshit now. What's it called? Klarna Pay or whatever. You know, if you got payment plans on a PlayStation or shoes or jewelry or clothes, you're lost in the sauce. That's entrapment. That's stay broke behavior. That's loser behavior. You're spending money that you ain't even got before you get it to impress people that don't even like you, that you shouldn't even care about their opinions. Got payment plans on clothes and shoes and jewelry and bullshit that depreciates in value. You know, you should be saving up, spending your money on things that appreciate in value, that build wealth, even if it's small steps at a time. And payment plans will eat your ass alive for bullshit you don't even need. You don't even need that shit. You know? You're paying more for the product in the long run anyway. It's so stupid. That's weak man behavior. You might as well be putting your reputation on a payment plan. And much like the money, you ain't even really got it. That's fake. That's the type of behavior that women do with handbags and bullshit to impress each other. Men, we don't need to do that. You trying to impress the next man and you putting your finances on the line with a bunch of petty garbage, clothes and shoes and BS you don't even need. You should be investing your money, making your money work for you. That's the exact opposite. That's the exact opposite of having your money work for you. You're working against your money. Payment plans on video game consoles and garbage. If you gotta do it to feed your kids, you're back against the wall. That's different. That's different. Everybody's got to do what they got to do. If you got to feed your kids, then, I'm not talking to you. But, if you're doing it for meals to impress women, going out and putting it on a credit card, you lost in the sauce. That's just the entrapment that the man wants from stupid people. Give your money back before you even get it. They love that shit. The real capitalists, the real people with money that are making things work behind the scenes, they love idiots like you putting garbage you don't need on payment plans. The goal for a man is to get ahead. You think you're getting ahead putting garbage on payment plans? You're getting behind in life. You're making your life harder for yourself. For a bunch of crap that you don't need. So you think you look cool? You don't look cool. You know what's cool? You know what's really cool? Having so much money in your bank account. You ain't got to worry about shit. You ain't got to worry about what nobody says. You got money for emergencies. That's what's cool. Having a stacked bank account. Obviously, you can't even afford that shit if you got it on payment plans. You putting shit you can't even afford on payment plans. You eating up your money before you get it, you fools. You idiots. Knock it off. Be better, man. That's just debt. You're creating debt for yourself over garbage. Over garbage, you're making it harder for yourself to own a home, a business. You making it harder for you to stand on your own 2 feet. And I don't want to hear, oh, I can do it, I get away with it, blah, blah, blah. You're being so short-sighted. You know, grown man needs to think long term. What's his long-term goals? Just because you got away with it this month, this week, in the long run, you're handicapping yourself in every area. Leave them payment plans alone. Stop trying to impress people that don't even care about you, that don't even like you. You're trying to impress people with a payment plan, really. You wearing around shoes that you don't even own. Embarrassing. Just embarrassing. You got on jewelry that you don't even own. Embarrassing. Stay in your lane. Matter of fact, you should be acting like you have less money than you do. Stack, 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 stack. Act broke. And stack away. Stay away from them payment plans. They're ridiculous. They're for fools. They're for people with very, very weak energy that feel a need to put their own future in jeopardy for material garbage that they don't even need. Spending money that you ain't even got yet on crap you don't even need, that you can't even afford. Leave them payment plans alone. They for suckers. That's loser behavior. You making other people rich instead of making yourself rich. Be better. Stay away from that garbage.